Hey YouTubers, welcome back to Going to the Country, a series of videos for city people thinking about moving out to the country. We did it over 20 years ago, and I can tell you it's been quite an education for a kid that grew up in the city. It's been an adventure at times, but we've survived it, and I've picked up quite a few tips and tricks that I'm going to pass along to you in these series of videos. Today I'm going to talk about power outages. When we left the city, they seem to be quite rare. We were in Vancouver, and boy, in the last 10 years, it seems like they have more power outages in the Lower Mainland than than we do in the country. But anyway, it's still something that you have to deal with once in a while in the country. There's a lot of trees, and in the wintertime, we get windstorms and snowstorms, and branches can cause a lot of problems with power. So we have been through power outages, 2 and 3 and 4 day power outages, and there's a few tips that can help you a lot on a long power outage. In a lot of ways, people in the country are better adapted at power outages because most of us have wood stoves for heating, and in a power outage, you can use the wood stove to heat your water, cook your food. It comes in really handy. And the other thing that I discovered is really important in a power outage is water. Water is the key. And right now we have 3,000 gallons of water in the basement in our cisterns. And I always have barrels outside collecting rainwater, things like that. And the reason water is so important is because with a bucket of water, you can flush your toilet. And let me tell you, I was in a house with my gal and 2 daughters, and that was really important. We actually got stuck one year early on, I think our second year living in the country, and it was the middle of winter. We had 3 feet of snow, so I couldn't get off the property. I had a 300-foot driveway. There's no way I was going to get off the property, and I didn't have any water. I didn't have any water barrels outside or anything, and we had a deep well, and I didn't have a generator, so I couldn't access the water in our deep well. And we didn't have any power for about 3 days. And I'm telling you, man, it was a nightmare. It was just a nightmare. We were melting snow, and it was terrible. The first thing I did that week after I could get out with my car was I went and I bought a water barrel so that after that I was always collecting rainwater. It comes in handy, as I've mentioned, in the summertime for watering your gardens, but in the wintertime, it's a must. We got to the point where if it starts to snow and the weather forecast is for a big storm, sometimes we'll fill up our bathtub and anticipating a power outage. It's an absolute must. It comes in really handy. Of course, the other things that we all know about in BC Hydro advertises, you want to have candles and extra food and extra water. All that pretty much goes without saying. You want to have some food in a pantry, and that pretty much goes without saying. But water, water is the key. So if you don't have cisterns collecting rainwater, just do it anyway because it's so easy to get at. Get a 50-gallon barrel so that you can collect rainwater. And if you have a power outage, you're in business. You can flush the toilet. Plus you've got lots of water for cleaning your dishes and things like that. So yeah, the water is a must. Of course, the ultimate way to deal with a power outage is go and buy a big generator. If you're going to get a generator, make sure you buy one that's big enough to handle the job that you want to do. If you have a deep well with a submersible pump in it, it's going to have a 1 or maybe a 2-horse motor on it. And you're going to need a lot of juice to run that motor and get your water up. So if you're going to get a generator and you want it, like to run a deep well, make sure it's powerful enough, to do what you want to do. The small cheap generators, they don't do that much. So if you're going to buy one, if you're going to spend the money, make sure it's going to do the job for you. So there you go, YouTubers. I hope that helps. I know it was a painful learning experience for me when we had that 3-day outage and I didn't have any water, I'll tell you. I never forgot that. And the power outage, we had young kids when we were doing it. we used to turn it into a fun event. It always seemed to happen at night. So we would set up in the living room and you know, by the wood stove, and we'd have a picnic, and you know, we'd have snacks and things like that, and you know, cook on the wood stove, and we'd have our books and games and stuff and candle lights, you know. So we would turn it into a fun event. So you know, that's one way. I think that's a good way to look at it. You know, sort of embrace the darkness with your family. So there you go. There's something. I hope some of those tips might help you. Speaking of wood stoves, next time I'm going to talk about wood stoves and what you need to know for your insurance company. If you're buying a house that has a stove in it, or if you're looking at buying a wood stove. So next time, wood stoves. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.